In this video, I want to show you the differences between a two-stroke and a four-stroke. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman, and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. So when we're first choosing a dirt bike and we're choosing between a two-stroke or a four-stroke, what are the differences? Well, a two-stroke motor actually goes through the 4 cycles of combustion every single time the crankshaft goes around. And then a four-stroke actually takes 2 revolutions of the crankshaft to complete the 4 cycles of combustion. This is where it's going to be different between the power that we get out of the two-stroke or the four-stroke and how consistent it is. A two-stroke motor is actually going to have twice the amount of outputted power as a four-stroke motor. So a 125 two-stroke rides with the same amount of power as a 250 four-stroke. Knowing this whenever you're going to buy your first bike is going to be very important, because now you know the differences between the power of a two-stroke and a four-stroke. And depending on your riding level is going to be a big indicator on which one you want to buy. A two-stroke is going to have a lot more power. However, it's going to be a little bit harder to ride, as you're going to have to work through the gears to actually keep the bike in the right RPM range to be in the power band. Where a four-stroke motor is going to be a little bit less power, but it's going to have a lot more consistent power whenever we're getting on the throttle. This could be good for a beginner rider, as you're not having to really work up and down through the gears to keep the bike in the right RPM level for the power band. And that you can just simply relax a little bit more and know when you get on the throttle, you're going to have a very consistent acceleration from the throttle. A four-stroke is going to be a lot easier to ride than a two-stroke. However, both of these dirt bikes are going to be great bikes for when we're learning how to ride. Another big difference between a two-stroke and a four-stroke is going to be that a two-stroke has a lot less moving parts inside the motor, and it's going to be a lot easier to work on if we're braking something. However, two-strokes do break more often, but they're a lot easier and cheaper to fix. A four-stroke, as long as you're going through the proper routine maintenance and changing our oil, cleaning our air filter, then a four-stroke will run for a much longer period of time. However, when something does break, it's actually going to be much more expensive to fix a four-stroke motor. That's because there's a lot more parts inside this four-stroke motor, and when something does break, it can break other components inside the motor, and this could really make it a lot more expensive to fix a four-stroke motor. Personally, I love both types of dirt bikes here, two-strokes and four-strokes. The older I've gotten much more comfortable on a four-stroke motor, as it's just very consistent and a lot easier to ride. And I'm not calling myself lazy, but as I've gotten older, I've almost become a little bit lazier, and it's a lot easier for me to ride this four-stroke motor. However, these newer two-strokes they're coming out with are amazing. They've now integrated fuel injection into two-strokes, which is great for me as I live in the mountains, and I can be riding for anywhere from 10, 11,000 feet, and the next day go out to the desert and I'll be stuck around 3,000 feet. So having this fuel injection on our dirt bikes and not having to rejet the carburetor just because I'm going from a 10,000 foot elevation down to a 3,000 foot elevation is going to be a huge thing for me. So the technology's come a long way on both the two-strokes and the four-strokes, and they are both wonderful dirt bikes. So as you can tell, it really comes down to personal preference and what type of riding you do. If you're out on the tracks or the trails, it's going to be different for what kind of bike you want, and it's going to be important that you know that. So if you're more of a track rider, you might want to get a bike that's set up more for track, and if you're a trail rider, then you might want to get a dirt bike that's set up more for the trails. Lately, I've noticed a trend that the four-stroke motors do dominate the motocross industry. Supercross or motocross is pretty much predominant four-stroke motors. And then in the trails, now these two-stroke motors have made a huge comeback. The two-stroke motors have started taking over the trail industry, which has been great, because now you can actually ride these two-stroke motors, and they've really changed a lot over the years. These two-strokes that they've been coming out with now have a little bit lower torque on them as well, and then once you get them up into the power range, you can really get that bike going fast on the trails. So it really depends on you, your personal preference, and your riding style. Before choosing a two-stroke or a four-stroke, try riding both bikes so that way you know what you're buying before you buy it. And you know which one's more comfortable for you, and really that's all that matters. As long as you're comfortable on your dirt bike, then you're going to want to ride more often, and that's going to make you better on your dirt bike. Just practice getting comfortable with whatever dirt bike you're riding, and soon it's going to become much easier. So whenever we're choosing between this 2-stroke motor or a 4-stroke motor, we're going to want to know what kind of bike we're getting and the size of the dirt bike. The size of our dirt bikes are going to be huge because it's going to give us the most confidence on our bike depending on what we're doing when we're riding. If you're looking for more speed out of your dirt bike, then you're going to want to go with a higher CC motor. And if you're looking for more control, sometimes the lower CC motors are going to be a lot lighter, and that's going to give you a lot more control over your dirt bike. Especially when choosing between a 4-stroke or a 2-stroke, a 4-stroke dirt bike having much more consistent power is going to be a lot easier to use the throttle and use the gears and everything. However, normally these 4-stroke motors are going to be a lot heavier, and it's going to be a little bit harder to maneuver the dirt bike. A 2-stroke being lighter is going to make it easier to throw the dirt bike down in the corner and maneuver and control the dirt bike. However, with the power of a 2-stroke, you're really going to have to know how to work the gears to go the fastest on this dirt bike. On the 2-stroke motor, it can be a lot easier to ride because it's lightweight and you have more control, but the power and acceleration is a little bit inconsistent, so that's going to be something you have to learn. And then on a 4-stroke motor being a little bit heavier, it might be harder to throw it around and maneuver in the corners, but having a lot more consistent and predictable throttle is going to make it a lot easier to ride at the beginning. Did this video help show you the differences between a 2-stroke motor and a 4-stroke motor? Well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. If you're looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website. It's going to take you from being a complete beginner and walk you through being an advanced rider, mastering the tracks and trails. I also have a free dirt bike guide over on my website as well. Just sign up for my newsletter and I'll send it straight to you. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.